When ranking SCPs, some choose to sort them by containment class, such as Safe, Euclid, or Keter. Others compare them based on anomalies, destructive potential, or how dangerous they are to humanity. Some even rank them by size, from tiny insect-like SCPs to entities larger than entire planets. But this time, we'll be looking at a different angle, a more primal and instinctive factor: appearance. In this video, we'll explore 12 SCPs that many consider to have the most horrifying looks. And if you're watching this alone in a dark room, it's probably best not to look over your shoulder. Top 12. SCP Foundation, Bobble the Clown. Clowns with red noses, wild hair, and big grins are usually beloved by children. But the clown I'm about to mention is nothing short of a nightmare. SCP-993 is a mysterious animated television program titled Bobble the Clown. It broadcasts without warning, with no official schedule. And strangely, only children under the age of 10 can see it. The show always revolves around Bobble, an animated clown with ghost white skin, wide, unblinking eyes, and a grin that seems glued to his face. At first, he seems to be teaching kids silly, harmless things. But as the episodes go on, the content becomes warped, disturbing.
Why, hello, kids. Welcome to my show.
According to reports gathered by the Foundation, children lose consciousness the moment the show begins and remain unconscious until it ends. Repeated exposure to SCP-993 results in permanent neurological damage and symptoms of schizophrenia. And that's just a cartoon character. Now let's move on to what's lurking right behind the door. Top 11. SCP-303, the Doorman. SCP-303, also known as the Doorman, is a thin, skeletal humanoid with one deeply unsettling feature: a massive, permanent grin stretched across its face. Yet it has no eyes, no nose, and no ears. This entity tends to appear unexpectedly behind closed doors, hatches, or any kind of barrier, right at the moment someone is about to open them. Those who find themselves on the other side are instantly overwhelmed by intense fear, paralyzed in place, unable to move until SCP-303 eventually disappears on its own. No one has ever seen the full form of this entity. SCP-303 seems to intentionally reveal only a small portion of its body, never more than 10%, with the rest hidden behind the barrier or blurred by a chilling mist it produces. The Foundation has never observed any violent behavior or physical interaction from SCP-303. Yet without lifting a finger, its quiet smile stirs the kind of fear that hides behind closed doors. Top 10. SCP-096, the Crying Man. SCP-096, nicknamed the Crying Man, is a disturbingly tall and thin humanoid entity, standing nearly 2.4 meters in height. Its skin is pale to the point of translucence, completely hairless, and its face is almost always obscured. In its passive state, SCP-096 sits curled up, sobbing quietly, showing no response to its surroundings. But if anyone, accidentally or otherwise, catches a glimpse of its face, whether through a photo, a video, or direct sight, it immediately enters a state of extreme emotional distress. After letting out a long, piercing scream, SCP-096 begins sprinting, using both hands and feet, toward the person who saw its face. It doesn't matter if the target is just meters away or thousands of kilometers distant. Once it reaches them, SCP-096 tears them apart with terrifying brutality, before returning to its curled-up, sobbing state. To this day, No material, barrier, or strategy has proven effective at stopping SCP-096 once it is locked onto a target. One photo, one glimpse. Certain death. Top 9. SCP-1529, King of the Mountain. SCP-1529, known as King of the Mountain, is a humanoid entity that resides atop Mount Everest, within the infamous Death Zone, where no human can survive without gear. It wears a full-body white climbing suit, its face always hidden behind a hood and opaque black goggles. To this day, no one has ever seen its real face. Or if they have, they didn't live to tell about it. When inactive, SCP-1529 sits motionless amid the brutal cold for weeks or even months. But once it begins to move, it crawls on all fours across sheer cliff faces and deadly slopes. Without ropes, without gear, completely unaffected by snowstorms, thin air, or sub-zero temperatures. What makes SCP-1529 truly terrifying, however, is what happens when a climber encounters it. Just one glance through those black goggles, and the victim suddenly feels warm, peaceful. They sit down to rest and never get up again. Hypothermia sets in quickly, but SCP-1529 stays by their side until the body stiffens and decays, looking as though it had been abandoned on the mountain for decades. You can avoid SCP-1529 by never climbing a mountain, but the next entity will come looking for you through the very phone in your hand. Top 8. SCP-11471-A, the shadow that follows you. A tall humanoid figure. Its head resembles a wolf's skull, elongated, bare-boned, with teeth permanently bared. Black, matted hair drapes down its shoulders. No eyes, no expression. Just a blank, lifeless stare, as if it died long ago and is now looking straight through your mind. That haunting entity is SCP-1471-A. And you don't need to wander into a dark forest, enter a sealed facility, or open a mysterious door to encounter it. It won't appear on its own. Everything begins when you install an app called Malover 1.0.0, also known as SCP-11471. The app can't be deleted. It has no icon. It quietly sends you images every few hours. At first, SCP-11471-A appears faintly in your photos. Then it gets closer. After 90 hours, you start seeing it in mirrors, in your room, at the end of the hall. It never moves or speaks. It just watches. Once it starts, it never stops. No one else can see it, but you'll always know it's there. Top 7. SCP-973, Smokey. You've just finished your shift and are rushing home. The road's empty, so you speed up a little. Who wouldn't? But unlucky you, there's a police car patrolling that lonely stretch of road. You pull over, frustrated that today's wages are about to go up in smoke. But what if that officer didn't want your license, just your life? SCP-973, known as Smokey, is a terrifying pair. An old Dodge police cruiser and a humanoid figure in a scorched, cracked police uniform, its skin blackened, its eyes glowing red like burning coals. They only appear at night, on deserted highways in the American South. If they spot a speeding vehicle, the patrol car will give chase at impossible speed. Victims only report hearing a siren, seeing flashing lights, and then they vanish without a trace. When the car is eventually found, it's empty, except for torn chunks of flesh and claw marks everywhere. Whatever happened inside was brutal. Smokey is a nightmare fused with a police cruiser. But up next, we'll meet another vehicle, larger, slower, and far hungrier. Top 6. SCP-2086, Man-Eating Bus. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than an old, broken-down bus parked in a junkyard. Dusty windows, peeling paint, rusted frame. But if you step inside, there won't be a ride back home. SCP-2086 is a living organism disguised as a public bus. It can move, hunt, and even reproduce. The driver is nothing but a preserved human corpse, puppeteered to fool unsuspecting passengers. But it doesn't hunt randomly. Its young covertly reposition bus stop signs, rerouting paths straight into their nest sites hidden in junkyards. When a mature SCP-2086 drives along these fake routes and picks up victims, a paralyzing gas is released as soon as the doors close. Once the bus returns to its nest, the young swarm in and drag each victim to another SCP-2086. There, hair-like tendrils pierce the chest, drain the blood, and fill the body with preservative fluid. Just like that, a new driver is created for the next hunt. Think a blood-drinking bus is disturbing? Brace yourself. The next SCP will make your skin crawl. Top 5. SCP-1060. Penanggalan. If you're a fan of Thai horror films, this SCP might feel disturbingly familiar. SCP-1060 is inspired by Southeast Asian folklore, particularly the Penanggalan, a woman's severed head that floats through the air, dragging its spine, lungs, and intestines behind like grotesque tendrils. But those entrails aren't just for show. They can extend and constrict like tentacles to strangle prey. SCP-1060 typically manifests at night, hovering silently outside homes where pregnant women or wounded individuals reside. It's drawn to the scent of blood and vulnerability. Once it has chosen a target, SCP-1060 can slither through the smallest cracks, silently invading the home to strike. Victims are usually bitten at the neck or abdomen, leaving behind deep puncture wounds with razor-sharp tooth marks that go straight to the bone. The SCP Foundation has tried to contain SCP-1060, but all attempts have failed. Its body can separate and reform at will, slipping through spaces just a few centimeters wide. SCP-1060 is the kind of entity you'd fear at night. But if that night happens to be Christmas, you might want to fear something even worse. Top 4. SCP-4X66, the Yule Man. SCP-4X66, also known as the Yule Man, is a tall, emaciated humanoid with long white hair and pale, corpse-like skin. He only appears at night, during a window of 1 to 2 weeks surrounding Christmas, specifically targeting families with young children. Incidents involving SCP-4X66 are classified as Weihnacht events. During these nights, the entity somehow enters the home without breaking any locks or leaving signs of forced entry. At first, it simply watches. Family members report feeling observed, catching glimpses of a figure in the hallway, or hearing footsteps in the attic. But on the final night, SCP-4X66 strikes. The adults are usually slaughtered, brutally and messily, using common household tools or kitchen utensils. The children, however, are spared, only to wake up next to horrifying gifts. Toys handcrafted from human bones, skin, hair, and blood, meticulously carved from the remains of their own family members. Top 3. SCP-106, the Old Man. At first glance, SCP-106 might look like a frail, elderly man. But in reality, what you're seeing is a decaying, rust-colored mass of rotting flesh, oozing and melting with each step. SCP-106 is a humanoid entity with dark, ulcerated skin that constantly secretes a corrosive, acid-like slime. Anything it touches, metal, concrete, or human bone, begins to corrode and dissolve. Wherever SCP-106 moves, it leaves behind trails of decay and a stench impossible to forget. But what makes SCP-106 truly terrifying is its ability to open portals into a personal hellscape known as the pocket dimension, a place where time, gravity, and physics break down. Once it captures a victim, SCP-106 drags them into this realm, where it tortures them slowly and brutally in the dark, before eventually returning their mangled corpse to our reality. And if you think the top 3 hasn't been horrifying enough, get ready for the next creature, a slimy, hybrid abomination that defies every law of evolution. Top 2. SCP-3199, Humans Refuted. SCP-3199 is the embodiment of a biological nightmare, nearly 3 meters tall, with a slick, slimy body covered in a thick, mucus-like fluid, resembling raw egg whites. It has no hair, and its form is an unnatural hybrid of multiple species: silky chicken, chimpanzee, weasel, snake, freshwater mussel, and human. A creature that should not exist, yet it lives, hunts, and reproduces with terrifying, destructive instinct. Its throat can dislocate and twist almost 360 degrees, not for sight, but for laying egg. Each egg is the size of a watermelon, vomited out along with a thick, red, acidic mucus. The reproduction process is accompanied by guttural, agonizing screams. Yet, SCP-3199 will continue laying eggs as long as there is space to fill. Next is the most visually disturbing SCP ever documented. Top 1. SCP-610, The Flesh That Hates. It all began in a remote village near Lake Baikal, where the locals started disappearing without a trace. First came the local police, then government agents. None of them ever returned. The SCP Foundation had no choice but to intervene. What they discovered wasn't a serial killer, but a horrifying plague, SCP-610, nicknamed the Flesh That Hates. It's a contagious disease spread through skin contact, causing the infected body to grotesquely mutate within hours. Victims' skin blisters, tears open, and sprouts large, red, keloid-like masses of flesh. Once the infection completes, they are no longer human. They become writhing, howling abominations, mindlessly replicating and spreading the infection to anything still alive. Some grow extra limbs, multiple heads, crawl along walls, or root themselves into the ground, slowly transforming everything around them into a massive, living meat hive. Entire settlements quickly turn into fleshy red hellscapes, where every surface is covered in living tissue. No one can enter without being attacked. Any living thing caught in their path is relentlessly pursued and absorbed. To this day, SCP-610 remains under absolute quarantine in southern Siberia, and all we can do is hope that not a single piece of flesh escapes that containment zone. From creatures hiding beneath a human shell, to masses of red flesh lurking in the shadows, the SCP universe has never been short on nightmares. And perhaps what we've seen today is only a small glimpse. So, which one gave you the biggest chills? Or do you know an even scarier SCP? Let me know in the comment. If you want to keep uncovering the hidden truths, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.